This site is getting more and more familiar for those who live in and around the Wiltshire village of Wootton Bassett. Today, a military transport aircraft's bringing home soldiers who've died in Britain's Afghan war. Inside, Lance Corporal David Dennis, Private Robert Laws, Lance Corporal Dane Elson, Captain Ben Babington Brown and Trooper Christopher Whiteside. They're the latest casualties of Operation Panther's Claw, a major assault on the Taliban in Afghanistan's Helmand province. The men's coffins pass along the high street of the small village. Since the bodies of British soldiers started being brought through here on their way from RAF Lyneham, crowds have appeared spontaneously along the route. A touching but sad tradition. Today's repatriation comes amid concern about the standard of equipment British soldiers have to cope with. General Guthrie, the former Chief of the Defence Staff, says commanders on the ground are struggling with too few troops and helicopters. Winston Churchill is from the UK National Defence Association.
By the weekend, at this rate, we will hit 150 battlefield deaths in Afghanistan alone. And the tragedy, the double tragedy about that, is a very significant number would have been avoided had the government and the Parliament voted sufficient resources of helicopters and modern generation equipment. It's in the nature of British troops to get on with what they've got. They are tough, hardy, but for the mums and dads, for the wives and the girlfriends, and for all those who love our armed forces, it is nothing short of unforgivable that there should be constraints on our armed forces while they're at war, while they are bleeding on the battlefield.
But the Prime Minister insists the situation is improving.
I have to say to you that we have sent more helicopters, that they now have almost twice as much helicopter capability as we had 2 years ago. And we have made orders for new helicopters as a result of the increasing demands that came from both Iraq and Afghanistan. And later this year, Merlin helicopters will also be deployed.
And Armed Forces Minister Bill Rammell says that a great deal has been spent on equipment.
It is just not true that we've starved the military of resources. We've spent £10 billion over the last 3 years on equipment, £1 billion alone on new and better protected vehicles. And the service chiefs tell me as a minister, and people will know historically, that if the service chiefs are concerned, they make that clear. They tell me, and this is backed up by the dialogue I have with troops on the ground, that we have the best equipment that we've ever had, and we're the best equipped armed forces in the world. Does that mean that we can stop every death? No, it doesn't.
Today, though, despite that spending, more grim news for 2 British families, with another 2 servicemen killed in Helmand. One from the 4th Battalion, the Rifles, and the other from the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment. That takes the British death toll to 9 in 9 days. The youngest, Trooper Joshua Hammond, killed near Lashkargah in Helmand province, was just 18.